Okay. Good morning. Happy morning. Welcome to the Book Day with You session, the place that the best book recommend to you. Today, we are going to talk about this book. It's called Wisdom of Sunday. Can you read that? Yeah, can you see that? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Good morning. Happy morning.
Okay.
Welcome to the Book Day with You session. The place.
Okay. The reason is because I live in the Facebook. I didn't off my mic in the Facebook. Okay. The reason why we choose Sunday to do this book, to recommend to you this book, is because the name, The Wisdom of Sundays. This book is a very condensed version of the Super Soul Sunday by Oprah Winfrey. Super Soul Sunday is an Emmy award-winning show by Oprah Winfrey. So today we were going to delve into this book. Before I pass to Gideon, I have one sentence that I would love to quote so much from Oprah Winfrey is, she wrote, "What I know for sure is the most valuable gift you can give to yourself is the time to nurture the unique spirit that is you." And she wrote as well, "I hope that this book, The Wisdom of Sundays, will illuminate your path to becoming all that you were meant to be." I really want to, I fall in love with this book so much. And today we're going to delve into a few important chapters to share with you. Now, I'll pass to Eden.
Thanks, Joyce. So first of all, I want to thank Joyce because she's the one who gave me this book 2 years ago. So my version that I have is there's a book and there's a journal. So you can read and then write something that inspire you in the journal itself.
Yeah.
Um, we will just pick a few topics because there's so much wisdom inside, and we are preaching in a Sunday morning now. So yes, so I will pick. We'll start with awakening because I think everything start with awareness. You
Yeah.
must awaken yourself first, and then you can go on your journey. So we'll start with the awakening, and I will pick my favorite author all time, Elizabeth Gilbert. So this is about what she wrote about finding your spiritual journey. I think most of you follow, that Elizabeth has gone had wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love, and this is about his journey. And she actually written this. Entrance are everywhere. Entrance to spiritual journey are everywhere. So the world would be an even more cruel place than it already is if the only people who are allowed to go on spiritual journals were people who could afford a plane ticket to India. So you don't really have to, go somewhere, go to the forest, deep inside somewhere, or go to the mountain, inside a cave to become spiritual. You don't really have to do that. We can find access to God through all sort of situations. And for that, you need a moment, a sacred moment of silence to begin to look for that journey. And that is available to everybody. I think this is so important for nowadays pandemic. You are at home, but you don't really have to go out to find to start your spiritual journey. And I like what another author wrote about awakening is you become aware of your thoughts running through your head during a conversation with a friend. You realize that there's a voice inside yourself that express worry, doubt sometimes, and anxiety, which is not really you. It is something that passed through you. So you are observer of the voice. So just realizing that this inner dialogue within yourself is the beginning of your awakening. So the road to the spiritual path is to understand that you are a spiritual being. And the way to understand that you are a spiritual being is to know that you are not of all these thoughts. They are just passing through you. So I find it very meaningful.
Yeah, just like you mentioned about when you have some conversation with your friends, you might have this awakening moment. My question to you is more like, when you have conversation with me, do you have the awakening moment?
Yeah, of course, a lot. I mean, you always provoke me to think, right? so, yours kind is like force me to awake.
I'm the super bad one. I don't know. All right. So, do you have something to add on about the awakening part?
No, I think this is what I have. So I pass to you on
Yeah, because
attention.
one part is very connected to awakening is intention. So after you experience the awakening, and we come back to we down to the road is the intention. So there's one sentence in the book written: intention rules every outcome. Intention rules every outcome. I found that this sentence is such a great one, because ultimately we ask about what is intention. If you ask me what is intention, I will quote what Gary Zukav he wrote. He explained in the book, saying that an intention is the quality of the consciousness that you bring to a deed or words. So, for example, he gave an example. The example is when you want to buy a bigger house. So you want to buy a bigger house. Then why you want to buy a bigger house? Is that because you have more kids that you want to give them more space, or you just want to buy a house to impress someone? So that is the why beneath the why. So the intention part, I would say, is somehow like a fundamental towards who is our truest self. So we all have developed an identity. It's a sense of who we think we are on, and also who we think we are not. So it is like, what do you stand for? What do we actually stand for? Who we want to be, who we want to become. Ultimately, you see, the intention is the fundamental about whatever you bring out to the world. So that's why I think the intention part, it's a very, very eye-opening to me, to a lot of
Yeah, I think it's so important because intention is energy, right?
yes.
If you do things without intention, it's like you do things with half-hearted. You can see some people, if they do things without intention, they're just, that's how I say, just flowing through, flow through the
Oh,
life, the wave of life.
yes,
You can't feel the energy of, yeah.
true. So that's why I found that the intention part um, is very eye-opening. Okay, let's go for the another, because this book there's 10 chapters. We are trying to get out the important cheese from this book to share with you the most. So let's go for the other part of that.
Yeah, the other part is I want to talk about ego. So and want to give more meaningful to ego, not the conventional type people who always think about not so good about ego. So I quote from this book. So there's one mention about ego.
Mhm,
You do not become good by trying to be good,
mhm,
but by finding the goodness that is already within you and allowing that goodness to emerge. Because what I say that, because trying to be good is often trying to improve your self-image, and that's ego driven. And your ego will say that I am what I have, I am what I do, I am what other people think of me. I separate from everybody else. I separate from what's missing from my life and separate from God in the end. So this is actually the components of ego. So why I want to mention this is because like, a lot of people build their ego through what they have, the material things, like what you wear, what you own, what people say about you, what the social media say about you, how many likes I get. So this is not a good ego intention. So the good ego is should be something coming inside of you.
yeah. That's why a lot of time we have the wrong perception on the ego. So we thought that the ego is negative. This is what I experienced also. Last time I always thought that ego is a negative words, but at the end it's a different story. Like what Gideon are mentioning to you just now. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, yeah. I want to follow this by talking about forgiveness, and I want to share a very beautiful story about forgiveness instead of talking about theory about forgiveness. There's a story about Nelson Mandela. He is actually kept in prison in Robben's Islands for 27 years. And after he's out from prison, he actually invite the prison guard and the person who persecute him to prison for dinner to sit with them and and talk with them. And people ask him, why you are so forgiven? Like, the other people will put you in jail, and do you not hate them, or don't didn't forgive them? And then what Mandela Nelson Mandela replied him is, the way you can free yourself from the past is through forgiveness, and it means forgiveness for yourself. If you don't forgive these people, you will be still in the prison, meaning in your prison inside yourself. So you must remember this. If you don't forgive all these people who did harm or did things to you, if you don't forgive them, you are just not forgiving yourself, and you will forever in that prison
Yes.
mentally. So it's such a beautiful story. Yeah, I mean, to do that after 27 years, it is a lot of forgiveness that you can give to people.
Definitely it's not easy, but we can get it through. You know, that's I remember last time I shared about this one, it's also in a book, Feel Better in 5, if not mistaken. We share about forgiveness before. This is also one part of it that is important. Okay. When we finish talking about forgiveness, right? We can always talk about this is one of the chapter in the book is called Broken Open. Broken Open, I will put it is like we all have a lot of life experience. No matter how old you are, in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, we all have our life experience. Some of the life experience can be quite a struggle, previous that. So it looks like a wounds. So we can always turn the wounds into wisdom. So the wounds can be like any illness that you have, or any struggle like job loss, addiction, breakup. All this can be the struggle that can really break us wide open. So remember this. There's one sentence I want to quote from this book. I love the sentence so much. Is remember, it is really your life trying to push you in another direction when you are facing with all these struggles. It is opening the door to your next great journey. And know this for sure, no experience is wasted. I love this sentence so much. I tell you, it's like they put up no experience is wasted. In life, we have so many life experience, and none of the experience I experience is wasted, because we can always turn this struggle, whatever we gone through, into something else. So you ask me how we can actually turn the struggle into something, into a wisdom. So today we are talking about books, right? So this is one of the very great sharing by Michael Bernard. So he shared about we ask empowering questions. A lot of time we ask disempowering question. For example, why me? Why this happened to me? What's wrong to me? And how I'm going to do all this thing. But instead asking an empowering question. For example, what's trying to emerge in my life? What's my purpose in my life? And what is the gift that I can share with other people? And what is the next best step that I can do at this situation? All this is the empowering question that we can ask ourselves. I don't know about you, but I really, as someone like, I train myself immediately ask the empowering question when I'm struggling in my negative thoughts. Once I have the negative thoughts, immediately I switch. I ask myself the empowering question. This is such a very, very good techniques. I would say this is a great tools. If you can learn anything, this is one of the best things that you can learn in your life. So
I think so true. If
yeah,
you just find yourself want to have
mm,
this empowering question, just stop yourself. Ask, a more empowering power that you things that you can do.
Yeah. So normally for Gideon yourself, right? What are the situation that normally you feel like? How do you feel after you ask yourself the empowering question?
I think first of all, you have more intention, energy, you know, and it's action driven. When you
Yes.
ask more empowering question, it's all action driven,
Yes.
and you will tend to take actions
Yes.
rather
True.
than just blaming.
Yeah. No blaming, but it's more on because when you ask, it's like what you say is more action driven. So you will know what is a step that you can do, then you see and assess the results. Okay, then follow with the last one. We are talking about gratitude and grace. So I want to quote one sentence by Oprah Winfrey. She wrote that, I quote, I can't tell you how much my life changed when I started writing down 5 things I was grateful for each day. And she wrote, the practice of gratitude can elevate your life to the state of grace. Means the gratitude and the grace is closely linked together. So when it comes to this, we always talk about one topic is about thankfulness, gratitude, right? So there is one part shared by Gwenchen Rubin. I read a quote from the what Gwenchen said. The sense of thankfulness, appreciating the grandeur of everyday life, just the ordinary day, and really taking the time to take it is absolutely crucial. And then when you have that thankfulness, so many other negative emotions get washed away. Resentment, anger, grudges, because you are just so thankful for what you have. How wonderful, right? When you are so thankful with what you have, you are really, really in a state of gratitude. All the negative emotions will just be washed away. That's why I encourage you, why not? Get a this book that is a condensed conversation from the Super Soul Sunday. If not, you can watch the interview session by all the all the influencer thought leader in this book. So last, I think we want to close this session to talk about a lot of people search for happiness. You and me, we all want to have a happy life. And from this book as well, talking about a lot of top researchers in the positive psychology, they found one thing is only 10% of the long-term levels of happiness are based on upon the external world. And 90% of the long-term happiness is how the brain processes the world we find ourselves in. That is the reason why a lot of people saying that they cannot find happiness because they find in the external world, which is only the 10%, and they forget the 90% is inside. We have to do the inside work. And this book is a perfect book for you to find it out. Thank you so much. You didn't have any things that you want to add on?
I just want to end with the sentence that I like about
Yes. Go ahead.
broken open.
Mm.
To be brave enough to break your own heart, being brave enough to risk intimacy, to risk rejection, to risk failure, being brave enough to make the decisions that ends up being right for you, and life goes on. Hard time will come, but you know what else will always come? A sunrise and a sunset. I'm a
It's
sunset person and you are a sunset.
sunrise. You're sunrise. I'm sunset.
I
I'm
really quote from the book and not from, well, yeah.
a little bit secret for you all. Gideon recently loved to watch sunrise so much. He was hunting for sunrise. Every single week or so you go and watch sunrise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very, very amazing. For me, I'm the sunset person. I love to watch sunset instead of sunrise because I'm not the early bird until So early. Okay, this is another story we're going to talk about in another book, 5 a.m. Club. So we will going to end this session. We'll see you